Coming up, a gothic romance set in a mysterious library.
A swashbuckling tale from the Indian Ocean.
Plus our distraction of the week. I'm Mel.
I'm Dave. This is the Library of Lost Time.
The book I want to read this week has very tantalizing details, right down to the author's name. The novel is called The Last Heir to Blackwood Library, and the author is Hester Fox.
Wow, you're right. All of that's great.
Right?
Yeah.
The story is set in post-World War I England. A young woman named Ivy inherits a sprawling estate on the Yorkshire moors, and in an instant, she becomes Lady Hayworth. But she has no knowledge of the family from which she's descended, and she has never heard of her new home, Blackwood Abbey. As you might expect from the words abbey, moors, and mysterious inheritance, the estate is foreboding, and the servants are not super welcoming. It kind of has a whiff of Mrs. Danvers from the novel Rebecca. On a tour through the house with her surly head maid as her guide, she learns that a locked room was used as a wartime infirmary, and the previous owner, Lord Hayworth, perished from dementia. There's also a rumored ghost and a mysterious manuscript and a fantastic library.
It says you all over it.
I know. As Ivy juggles two potential romantic suitors, a nobleman and the handsome chauffeur, she also starts having strange experiences. Can she solve the mystery of the library before it's too late? Publishers Weekly called this book a treat for bibliophiles. It's The Last Heir to Blackwood Library by Hester Fox.
In our Egypt episode, I talked about a book called City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. That is a fun, action-packed novel with some emotional depth to it. It's about a girl who runs into some jinns in 18th century Cairo. The author's new book is out.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's the first of a promised trilogy. It's called The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi. It's set in the 12th century. It's about a woman who is a retired pirate.
A retired pirate?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could retire if you were a pirate.
Turns out you can. Yeah. Amina has been the scourge of the Indian Ocean for decades, but she has left that to settle into a quiet family life. Until one day...
Those are some of my favorite words.
I know. It always signals the end of Act 1. Until one day, a mother of a former crewman shows up and offers her a king's ransom to rescue her daughter. Amina is drawn in by the chance to save her friend, have one last adventure with her crew, and win the fortune that will secure her family forever. But the deeper she gets into it, the more it becomes clear that things are not what they seem.
Also some of my favorite words.
Yeah. Publishers Weekly said, if readers are not won over by the playful plot twists and thrilling action sequences, they will fall for the charmingly crooked cast and dry humor. This swashbuckling adventure is sure to delight. It's The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi by S.A. Chakraborty, and it's out now. And now our distraction of the week. So this week I took a dive into the world of podcasts. I realized that my listening habits are pretty fixed, right? I enjoy a handful of podcasts and I tend to stick with those. The podcasts I love are either what I think of as old classics like This American Life.
I'm Ira Glass. Today's program, get back to
WTF
where
with
you
Mark
want.
Maron.
Today on the show, Alex Borstein is
Radio
here.
Lab.
You're listening to Radio Lab.
Or they're shows that speak to some niche of something I'm interested in. So I can follow my interest in sound design with 20,000 Hertz.
You're listening to 20,000 Hertz.
Or my love of board games with Shut Up and Sit Down.
Welcome to the Shut Up and Sit Down podcast, a podcast all about board games.
What
and
are
the
you
people who
listening
love
to
them.
these days?
You know, I do the same thing. I tend to stick to bookish podcasts just because I love to hear people talking about books. 2 book-related podcasts that I never miss, just in case anybody needs more fodder for their TBR. Obviously, the OG, What Should I Read Next with Anne Bogle.
Hey readers, I'm Anne Bogle, and this is What Should I Read Next?
The OG.
Welcome to the show that's dedicated...
I love putting Anne together with the OG.
She should put that on her business card.
She should.
The book discussions are always really lively on her show. Even if I'm not particularly interested in the books they're discussing, it's always worth listening to what people have to say. And I do often add a lot of books to my TBR.
Yeah.
I also really enjoy The Perks of Being a Book Lover.
You are listening to The Perks of Being a Book Lover, a show featuring two completely
In that one, the hosts
opposite
interview authors. But what I'm particularly drawn to is they also talk to other readers and bookish people, like a costumer who makes dresses based on book covers, a librarian at a haunted library, an educator at a zoo who runs a book club, that kind of thing. And the hosts are lovely women. It's just a delight to hear them talk to each other and talk to their guests. I also branched out in the last couple of years, and this is kind of a meandering way to get to this podcast, but here we go. I would not describe myself as a movie lover. I like movies. There are a few movies that I love, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gosford Park, Jaws.
Sure.
Ready or Not.
The modern horror classic Ready or Not.
Wedding Dress, Converse, Creepy Family, Manor House. What more could you ask for?
Also, you love the subgenre of horror comedy.
I do. Because when I get scared, I laugh. So why not put those things together?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't describe myself as a movie lover. And I don't usually enjoy podcasts that are interview shows. It's just not my thing. But I'm here to tell you that Films to be Buried With, which is an interview show about movies, is one of my favorite podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Films to be Buried With. My name is Brett Goldstein. I'm a comedian, an actor, a writer, a director, a protein, and I love films.
It's hosted by Brett Goldstein. He's the actor who plays Roy on the show Ted Lasso. He loves movies, maybe more than anything. And he is very smart and funny and warm. And the premise of his show is that he talks to actors and comedians about their favorite films. But that is just a sneaky way to get them to open up about their lives, their fears, their favorite moments, their relationships. And you see all of that through the lens of the movies that they love. So you get introduced to movies you might not know about, and you get to peek inside the brains of the guest and Brett Goldstein.
So you're getting a personal history of their lives and the movies they've watched.
Exactly. The conversations, because he often has comedians on, the conversations are pretty funny.
Right.
But also, comedians can be very dark.
I don't know if you know this.
So sometimes the conversations get very vulnerable too. Every once in a while, it really kicks me in the feelings. It makes me feel connected to other humans and alive. And you can't really ask for more than that from a podcast.
Yeah. I bring up podcasts at all because our friends at Think Media gave us an idea for spreading the podcast love. They are calling April Adopt a Listener Month. The idea is to convert somebody you know who's never listened to a podcast. A surprising number of people have never listened to a podcast.
I mean, I know lots of people who don't listen to podcasts.
Yeah. Well, or never. Never tried it. Or, maybe they heard one episode of Serial 10 years ago and they didn't like it and they decided that podcasts are not their thing.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is to find that person and give them a thoughtful recommendation. Something you think that they will like that is into their niche. Something that will get them hooked on the idea of listening to podcasts. If you're looking for new podcasts for yourself or to recommend to a friend, podchaser.com is a good tool.
I do like Podchaser.
Yeah, you can search on topics. You can go to a podcast and see what other people are listening to that listen to that podcast. And you can try out new podcasts right in the browser. Instead of going to your app and adding them, you could just click a button and hear what's going on.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I'll also add that if you want to explore the ever-growing world of fiction podcasts, our podcast network, Realm, has many, many, many great fiction podcasts. So we'll put links to everything you need to expand your podcast world and recommend new shows to a friend in show notes. And of course, if you recommend Strong Sense of Place to a friend, well, that's kind of the best of everything. So thank you in advance for thinking about doing that. Visit strongsenseofplace.com/library for everything about Adopt a Podcast Listener, the books we mentioned today, the podcasts we name dropped. It'll all be in show notes, strongsenseofplace.com/library.
Thanks for joining us on the Library of Lost Time. Remember to visit your local library and your independent bookstore to lose some time yourself.
Stay curious. We'll talk to you soon.
Can you actually change your personality if you want to? How does peer pressure work, and why is it so powerful? Should you ever really trust your gut when you make a big decision? These are just a few of the topics we've recently covered on my podcast, Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and each episode of Something You Should Know covers multiple topics that are likely relevant to you. You'll discover things you can use in your life today, right now, like how to have a great conversation, how to be more courageous, the anatomy of the perfect apology, and much, much more. To date, there are over 1,000 episodes of Something You Should Know, and we've gotten over 4,000 mostly 5-star reviews. I invite you to check out Something You Should Know. Look for the bright yellow light bulb on the blue background. Something You Should Know, wherever you listen to podcasts.